This might be the most interesting episode of the Luke Kelly Show that you listen to. Why? I have taken Benadryl. That's why. So I'm all sorts of loopy. I've been taking Benadryl all day. And I blame a tornado that came through my part of town and all the windy weather that we had last Wednesday night. So many tree limbs were down. So many sticks and dead parts of trees that were covered in the yard. And that's all the yard work that I did on Saturday. Removing branches from the yard. Some big branches from the yard. And I think that caused me to have an allergic reaction because most of them were dead. So there's probably some sort of, I don't know, like dead dust that was in there when I was breaking down these branches and twigs and everything. That was probably causing me to have this allergic reaction right now. I don't love it. It is so itchy. It is in a whole bunch of places where, I don't know if you've ever had like poison ivy or something where the clothing keeps hitting those spots and you just want to itch, but you know that's probably the worst thing to do. I'm on Benadryl. I think this is my second or third dose of the day, so I only have one more dosage for the day to take. But this is not how I want to spend my next couple of days because I worked my ass off in the yard, cleaning everything up, and this is how I get repaid. Listen, I talked to you last week about how pumped up I was to do some yard work. And now you're probably thinking, hey, Luke, are you going to backpedal on this? Are you now going to say that you don't want to do yard work anymore? I don't know. It might come to that. Because if this is how it's going to treat me, I'd say, hey, you win yard work, I'll hire someone to do it. So that way I don't constantly have to take a whole bunch of Benadryl whenever I do yard work. I'm starting to feel loopy right now. I told Nora, I was like, I got to record a podcast. Didn't do it all weekend. And now I need to do it when I have a whole bunch of Benadryl in my system. I need to get it taken care of. But man, it's just, I never thought that this would happen to me. I don't know if it's like, it can't be poison ivy. I don't think I touched any poison ivy along the way. I just think it was from all the dead trees that I had in my yard. I need to do some research on that. Could hop on to Google and do some research, but all of a sudden I'm going to find some research that says I'm going to die because I was doing this yard work and breaking down these trees. You know, that's how it always happens. Whenever you get sick, whenever you start having an allergic reaction to it, you go on Google, you go on WebMD, you start searching all these symptoms that you're having. Next thing you know, you're going to die in 2 or 3 weeks after just the 2 minutes of research that you did on those search engines. That's how it happens. It can never just be a normal diagnosis from those websites. It's always worst case scenario. And then you freak yourself out even more on top of being, petrified from whatever is going on with your body right now. It's like your body doesn't need all this stress going on. And I swear it's so much stress on my body, so much stress on my hands, not scratching these itchy spots all over my body. I feel like I'm a kid with chicken pox, just wanting to scratch all over the place. That's what I did when I was a kid and I had chicken pox. I have some scars to show it off. You want to see them? I'm showing them to you right now. They're on like right above my rib cage. Those are my tattoos. I'm too big of a wimp, but I have those scars from my chicken pox when I was 5 years old. Those right there. Those are my scars, baby. All the wounds that I had to deal with having chicken pox. Right now, I'm not doing any more itching because I don't want to have these scars / tattoos all over my body as an adult. If I did that, the places that I have these like breakouts right now, I would have to wear long sleeves all the time. My right eye, I feel like, is about to be swollen shut. You remember in the movie Hitch when Will Smith has seafood and he's allergic to it and they have to run to a pharmacy and go get some Benadryl because his face is so swollen? That's what my face feels like right now. My right eyelid is so swollen. You should see this thing. Wish you could see it. It's ugly. Look, I'm not a great looking individual, but looking in the mirror right now with my left eye, it's horrendous. A lot more horrendous than normal. I think I went from about a 5.5 to about a 3.5. All because of this swollen eyelid. I'm lucky that's like one of the only things that's swollen. Like there's a whole bunch of bumps and red marks all over my body, but my eyelid is the one that's really swollen. And I tell you what, I would rather deal with this pain and this sort of allergic reaction that I'm having right now than going to a grocery store the day before a holiday. Now, listen, I know this is my fault for doing it, but Nora went grocery shopping on Friday so we could get groceries for the next week. That's what you have to do. I mean, you can't just not go grocery shopping for the next week because it's a holiday week. You still got to be able to do that. But there was a couple of things that we needed to get from Kroger just to finish it up. And when we walked in the store, there was 2 carts left. That's how busy the store was. 2 carts were left. I just rolled my eyes because I knew walking into Kroger at that moment was going to be chaos. And wouldn't you know, it was chaos all over the place. People pushing their carts all over the store, clipping you in the back of the Achilles part. I mean, it was just a shit show. Especially the produce. I didn't realize that Easter was such a big produce holiday, but there was a lot of people there. We got some salami for a pasta salad that we made for Easter Sunday. And when we were in the deli section, there was someone that was passed out on the floor. I don't know what happened to him, but you heard over the PA, if there are any medical professionals in the store, can you please head over to the deli department? And this dude's legs, the way that I saw it, was like the legs from the Wizard of Oz where the Wicked Witch's legs were just hanging out after the house just landed on her. That's what this dude looked like because his upper half was underneath a table that had like display of like breads and different things on there. And then there was a whole bunch of people around him, but you could just see his legs. I'm like, man, this is a weird time to be at Kroger right now. And it didn't get any better from there either. Like, I thought that could be the worst thing in the grocery store that day was seeing someone passed out from God knows what. I hope that person is okay. But, I mean, I was in the grocery store, and I always feel like whenever you're in a grocery store, that we should have the same rules that we have on the road when you have your grocery cart. When you have it, stay on the right side. If you need to get over to the left, make sure you look to see if anyone else is coming that way and then move over. Don't stop in the middle of an aisle. Move over to the side in an aisle. But this was just constant. People didn't care about one another in the store because it was so damn crowded. You really didn't have anywhere to go. But I feel like the reason why you didn't have anywhere to go is because of how inconsiderate people were. If we were more considerate, we wouldn't be running into these issues in the grocery store. That's my lobby. We need to make signs. We need to have grocery stores say, hey, listen, follow the rules of the road when you're in the store. But you know what? That might be a bad idea too, because judging by how everyone acts on the roads, it might be an even bigger shit show. I mean, it could be that bad. have people texting and pushing the cart, more ankle bruises all over the place because they're not paying attention. That wouldn't be cool. But we have to figure out something in order to make everything more effective in a grocery store. I don't know. You know what's not effective in a grocery store? Self-checkout. I feel like self-checkout has actually made the grocery store experience worse. You think that it would move things along fairly quickly just because you could have it, you could go at your own speed. But no, that's not the case. There's pros, okay, that are at a line to work to scan all of your groceries, and then there's a bagger at the end that is putting all that stuff away. See, you're doing the job of two people when you're at the grocery store. You got to scan and bag. And that's what's holding these self-checkup lines up so much. Especially if someone has produce, they have to key it in, then they can't find it, or that one didn't have, that piece of produce didn't have the sticker on there, so they got to look it up, and then they got to weigh it. It's a pain in the ass. And you know, a lot of companies will say, well, we're doing this so we don't have to pay employees and we could keep the prices down. I don't believe that at all. Whenever a company comes out and says, oh man, this is what we're doing to cut cost, and we're passing those costs that we save onto you, we're not going to be raising the rates on anything. BS. Some of these companies have made more money than ever before. I have a hard time believing them. CEOs getting huge raises, and you're telling me we can't pay someone $15 an hour to scan groceries and bag them? People wouldn't hate going to the store. You might have a higher volume of customers throughout the day if you made it more efficient while they're in there, because Americans want everything to be done at such a fast pace now, right? You want to go into a store, you want to get out of there as quick as possible. But when that self-checkout line is a mile long and people are slow and still don't know how to figure it out, it's going to take more time. That's why we need to bring it back. Bring me the grocery store clerk that scans your groceries. Bring back the bagger. The kid that works while he's in school. He or she. I always liked that. I always enjoyed going to the checkout counter that actually had a person. Now, in a grocery store setting, it rarely happens. Aldi has a real-life person there. And do you see how effective Aldi is when you're at the grocery store? They scan and just throw things in your cart so fast, you just hear that boop, 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 boop. I mean, constant. They're so good at it. And they have you bag your own groceries, but you get the hell out of the way. If we had professionals all the time doing it, it would make the grocery store experience a lot better. I'm telling you, it's getting worse and worse. Especially if you have to go to if you have to go to Walmart. That's horrible. There's like 3 lines that actually have people there, and the rest are self-checkout. It's miserable. Let's get Mr. Matthews from Boy Meets World. He was a grocery store manager. Let's ask his professional opinion. Excuse me, Mr. Matthews, do you think this would be a faster solution? I was going to say, yeah. You're right, Luke. This would be faster. Mr. Matthews would never lie. He was a damn good dad. Although he did have a couple of episodes where he really freaked out on people. I mean, like hardcore freaked out on people. But, I don't know. I think the older that I get, the more irritated I get. And, like, the more irritated I get faster. Ugh. It just makes me not want to go to the store anymore, and it just makes me want to tell Nora we're going out to dinner every night. Go have a whole bunch of appetizers, but guess what? That's not healthy if you do that. Eating appetizers every single night, going out to eat every single night would not be healthy. But I tell you what, going out to eat is very enjoyable, especially those appetizers. So good. I love a good appetizer. When you go out to eat, I think that's like the pinnacle of going out to eat, is getting a good appetizer. And that's why this week's top 3, we're going to be counting down my top 3 appetizers. And this is how it would go. I would start number 3 with a good old pretzel. Pretzel and beer cheese, pretzel and a mustard. A couple of different mustards would actually be very nice. I love them. I love trying them. If they're on a menu somewhere, I'm getting them. And they better not be the pre-made stuff, or else I'm really going to be upset, because I look forward to a good beer cheese pretzel as an appetizer. More places need them too, by the way. I feel like it's starting to become more popular, but every place needs to have those as a choice. The number 2 top appetizer, fried pickled spears. Fried pickled spears. I don't want the chips. I'll eat the chips, but if we're doing fried pickled chips, they would not make my top 3. I feel like the chips too often get too soggy, and then the breading starts to fall off, and it's a mushy nightmare. With a spear, yes, you do have some of the breading that falls off, but you still have that nice, real snap of that pickle spear when you're eating it. This is where you got to be specific, because, like I said, the chips would not be in my top 3. Spears, yes. And the first time I ever had a fried pickle spear was at TPC Deer Run in the Quad Cities. I think it's Silvis, Illinois, technically, where TPC Deer Run is. But the fried pickle spear, game changer. And I feel like a good spicy ranch to go along with that. Chef's kiss. It really is. But I don't think there is a better appetizer out there, and it can be from any sort of restaurant. It doesn't have to be just a Mexican restaurant. But chips and salsa are fantastic. If you're at home and you have chips and salsa for a party, it's a great appetizer. If you have a whole bunch of people that you go out to dinner with that night, and you really want to only order a couple of appetizers, you just get a couple orders of chips and salsa for the table. And everyone's happy. And usually stuffed before their meal actually hits the table. Chips and salsa are next level good. I'm surprised that I put it on my list, but the more and more I actually thought, like, you know what? Chips and dip are just, like, any chips and dip, chips and salsa, you put that in front of me before a meal, I'm eating it. I'm devouring it. I don't want to share it, but I will, because appetizers are supposed to be shared. Unless, let me mark this. I feel like there are different rules to appetizers. But if you're doing appetizers for dinner as for your meal, then you don't have to share them. Because like I told you last week, you don't share. Sharing is not caring when it comes to you going out to dinner and getting food. All right, so if you order an appetizer as your main meal, then you could tell people, nope, keep your hands off that, you filthy animal. It's like when I was a kid. I wouldn't say a kid, but when I was like early high school, junior high, we would go to Chili's. I would always get, I don't remember what it was, but it was an appetizer. I think it was the triple dipper appetizer. Came with like the Southwest egg rolls, some sliders. I don't remember what it was. Maybe like chips and dip as well. Artichoke and salsa, maybe. Boneless wings. That's what else it was. Fantastic. That was a good meal right there. And, you know, I used to love going to Chili's, but the last couple of times Nora and I had it, it's been terrible. The quality of that place has gone down, or my taste buds just advanced a little bit, and now I just don't find Chili's to be as good as it once was. I still love you, though, Chili's. You have a special place in my heart. Okay, you got me through some years that, you know, I never thought that I would get through. Without your help, without you being there to stuff my face, I wouldn't have made it through those times. I'm kidding, of course. That was a solid episode of having a whole bunch of Benadryl in my system. At least I thought it was. Maybe you could tell that, hey, Luke, your head wasn't right today. It's because of all the Benadryl that I'm on, okay? Hopefully, by Wednesday's episode, I don't have a whole bunch of Benadryl in my system. Cross your fingers. Okay, please do that. I want to have this reaction gone and over with. And to be honest with you, if I still have this reaction while I'm recording the next podcast, I'll probably go to a medical professional. Be like, hey, yo, doc, hook it up, bro. I would even say bro to a female doctor, okay? No, I wouldn't. More respectful. I would be a lot more respectful. I'll talk to you on Wednesday here on The Luke Kelly Show.